सर्वधर्मस्थापकत्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. O establisher of all the faiths, embodiment of all the religions, the greatest teacher among all the teachers, O Sri Ramakrishna, my salutations to you. Namaste, Pranam. Sri Ramakrishna emphasizing the fact that we must bring our mind under our control. The mind must be quiet. Only with the quiet mind one can attain to the stage of Kumbhaka. Now, how this happens, Sri Ramakrishna has explained already to us that the mind of a yogi is completely under his control. It is not the yogi is under the control of the mind. Mind has to become quiet. When mind becomes quiet, the breathing stops, Sri Ramakrishna says. When the mind becomes quiet, when the mind is under your control, the entire life force is under your control, as it were. Now, we all know that this body, the so-called our individuality, is comprised of 5 sheaths. We have got these 5 layers, the Panchakosha. We have got the physical body, the Annamaya Kosh. Then we have the mental body, the Manomaya Kosh. And the Pranamaya Kosh, the sheath of the life force. Now, these are all, there is all interconnection in between these 5 sheaths. So, Sri Ramakrishna says, when the mental body is under control, when your mind is under your control, automatically the life sheath, the sheath of life force also comes under your control. And when the sheath of life force is under your control, you attain the stage of Kumbhaka. You attain the stage of no breathing at all. And that stage of non-breathing, whether you don't breathe out or you don't breathe in. If you have taken the breath in, you just hold that breath inside for all the time to come. Or if you have exhaled, if you have sent out your breath from the body, you don't take in the breath and you remain without breath, without taking in breath for a long time to come. That mastery over breathing, Sri Ramakrishna says, ultimately it leads to the stage of Samadhi. And how it leads to that stage of Samadhi, Sri Ramakrishna had given the example of that bhakta. And Sri Ramakrishna has told that this stage is not a prerogative of only the knowledge, for those following the path of knowledge. It is not just limited to be enjoyed by the jnanis. Even bhaktas have equal opportunity of enjoying that state of Kumbhaka, of enjoying that stage of controlling the mind, of enjoying that stage of controlling the life force as it is. And he gave that example of the musician singing the kirtan. Initially, when he starts singing the kirtan, he is in full flow of Amar Ditai Mata Hati. He sings all that long lines of the kirtan. And then, as his spiritual mood deepens, he is not able to utter that complete line, Amar Nitai Mata Hati. Then he just repeats, Hati, 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 Hati. And then the spiritual mood even further deepens. Now he cannot even utter that single word Hati. Now it is only Ha, 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 Ha. That's it. And later even that stops. And he gets into the stage of breathlessness. Now, both yogis as well as the bhaktas, they attain this state. And Sri Ramakrishna has given that example of not only just following the path of knowledge or path of bhakti, even in our ordinary day-to-day activities, we come across such scenes where people suddenly get breathless, people suddenly get speechless. Then he gives that example of the sweeper. The sweeper who is sweeping the ground and somebody comes and tells him, oh, this person so-and-so is dead, he is no more. This person who is no more, if he is not related to the sweeper, he is least bothered. At the most he will say, oh, he was a good man, oh, so sad he has died, and he continues with his sweeping. But if that person happens to be a close relative of his, The reaction is so very different. Immediately on listening, hearing this news, the broom will drop away from the hands of the sweeper. Why? This even sweeper will drop down on the ground in that moment of grief, and he won't be able to speak anything. Ah, that's all he can say. And then, as if for that moment, his breathing also has stopped. It happens in ordinary day-to-day life situations. Like Sri Ramakrishna gave the example of those women who are sitting together and chit-chatting and gossiping and all rumor mongering. Suddenly one woman will think of something and her mind will just go away. She, with mouth agape, she will just be in her own. And then the other ladies will start asking her, hey, what happened? You got into samadhi? Kya ho gaya? You're not, no, you're not at all talking anything. You are just sitting quiet. You are not even breathing. What happened? Are you in samadhi? So such things happen. And these things happening in the case of jnanis or the bhaktas, they take them forward towards God. Once once you have controlled that pranamay kosh, once that life force, sheath of life force is under your complete control, then you go a step ahead. You go a step ahead towards Vijnanamay kosh and then getting over the Anandamay kosh. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna has told. And then he also told us about the signs of the jnanis. And while telling us some signs, physical signs of the jnanis, he gave the example of his beloved Naren. Look at his protruding eyes. Look at his penetrating eyesight. Look at his broad forehead. These are the signs, Sri Ramakrishna said, that typically the people with the bent of mind towards knowledge, the people who are on the path of knowledge, they have these kind of signs. Now, Sri Ramakrishna says, continues his teaching, all men are by no means on the same level. Now, some have this sign, some don't have this sign. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, all men are not on the same level. We all have different tendencies based on our past karma. That we don't start our spiritual journey, all of us, we don't start our spiritual journey at the same level. Some of us start the journey, they are much ahead. They have so much of a, they are carrying their backlog of the positives with them, that they may not have to struggle a lot in this birth. But some, they don't, their bank balance is absolutely zero. Why? Some may have bank balances in the negative. So they have to slog and slog and slog. So Sri Ramakrishna says, all the people, they don't start at the same level. All men are by no means on the same level. It is said that there are 4 classes of men. Again, Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us how the mental makeup, how the spiritual makeup of the people differs. And based on the spiritual makeup of the people, they are classified into 4 categories. What are these 4 classes? The bound, the struggling, the liberated, and the ever free. The bound is Baddha. Baddha Jiva, Sri Ramakrishna has told us how strongly they are attached to the worldly enjoyments and attachments and temptations. They are not willing to come out of that trap. They are not willing to come out of that net. They are deeply caught into it. Those are the Baddha Jivas, the bound souls. They have got nothing to do with the path of spirituality. Then there are the strugglers. They are the seekers. Life after life, their effort is to bring their mind, which is entangled in the lower 3 planes, for that matter, in the lower 3 chakras of the lust and greed. They are trying their best to pull it up to the level of heart. They are trying their best to bring it to the Anahata chakra as if. Those are the strugglers. Those are the seekers. Then there are, after the seekers, there are the liberated. They are the Mukta Jivas. They need little effort. They are already liberated, but Because of the karma, they need little effort. They need some kind of spiritual discipline, and they are out of that net. And then they are the ever free, the Nitya Jivas. They don't have to do anything. They never get caught in the net at all. They are enjoying in their everlasting eternal bliss. So these four type of people, usually they come up in this world with their spiritual makeup: the bound souls, the seekers, and the liberated souls, and the ever free. Now, it is also not a fact that all men have to practice spiritual discipline. It is not a fact that everybody has to follow the spiritual disciplines. No. The liberated may have to follow just for a while, just to show the others that what are the spiritual disciplines one should follow, how one should chant the name of God, how should one should sing the glories of the God, how one should meditate in solitude. These liberated souls may do it just for a while. The ever free don't have to do even that. So it is not that all the souls, all the jivas, they have to undergo the spiritual disciplines. There are the ever free, and those who achieve perfection through spiritual discipline. Ever free need not do anything at all, but the seekers have to slog really hard. For seekers, they may have to do it birth after birth after birth after birth. And like that song Sri Ramakrishna used to sing, that Mother Shama, we are playing with the millions of kites. Maybe one or two will just get out of her grip. Maybe one or two will set themselves free from the grip of Mahamaya. Otherwise, the struggle continues birth after birth after birth for these mumukshus, for the seekers. But they don't give up. They don't give up. They continue their struggle. So what? If not in this life, maybe life after this. If not in that, maybe life after that. And likewise, millions of lives may go, and then they may attain the stage of perfection, and they will get out of the clutches of that Mahamaya. So this is what happens. Sri Ramakrishna says that it is not that everybody has to undergo the spiritual disciplines. Some have to go tenaciously, birth after birth. The ever free don't have to do anything, but the mumukshus, they have to. Maybe the liberated, they have just taken birth to perform something in this life, and they are already out of it. They are out of the cycle of birth and death. So this is how different types of people with their spiritual makeup are born, and this is how they trade their spiritual path. Some realize God after much spiritual austerity, and some are perfect from their very birth. The ever free, the Nitya Jivas are perfect from their birth. Why they have taken birth, that itself becomes an enigma. Oh, why he is born? He is such a perfect soul. But they take birth in order to enlighten these seekers, in order to enlighten these the strugglers, these mumukshus. That is why these ever free take birth. So Sri Ramakrishna now gives the example of Prahlada. Prahlada is an example of the ever free. He came down, he took birth. He had no attachments right from his birth. He had no attachments since the moment he was born. His mind was always bound only to Vishnu. That is it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's what he knew all along since his birth. So that was the example that Sri Ramakrishna gave about these ever-free souls. Eternally perfect sages like Prahlada also practice meditation and prayer. Now they also practice, of course. Prahlada did so much of tapasya, so much of austerities at the instance of his guru Prahlada. He started chanting the mantra of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Then he gave up the food, he gave up water, then he gave up even breathing. He brought that life force under his control to such an extent that ultimately the moment he stopped breathing, Lord Vishnu had to come down and appear before his beloved child. So, see the association of the control over breathing, how important it is that it makes Lord to come down to meet his beloved child Prahlada the moment he stopped the breathing function also. Eternally perfect sages like Prahlada also practice meditation and prayer, but they have realized the fruit already. They have realized the God vision even before their spiritual practice. That is a unique category of the souls. They have already attained to God realization, and still to show the path to other strugglers, they keep on doing these spiritual practices. They keep on doing japa, they keep on doing meditation. And then Sri Ramakrishna gives a very nice example for these kind of ever free souls. Sri Ramakrishna says, they are the gourds and pumpkins which grow fruit first and then the flowers. Now, normally in the plant kingdom, the growth pattern is first there is a flower, and then that flower turns into a fruit. Then it gets a bud, and from that bud germinates the fruit. But Sri Ramakrishna says these ever free souls, they are like the pumpkins and the gourds, where fruit comes first, and then at the end of the fruit, then there is some kind of a flower that appears. The flower is the last stage for that matter. For them, the fruit is already achieved. The fruit of God realization, these gourds and pumpkins, these ever free souls, they have already achieved. For them, flower to show off. Oh, that is beautiful flower. This pumpkin, the wine has, the fruit has at its end. That's what we say when that yellow colored, orange colored flower appears on the pumpkin as a fruit. So it is the first fruit and then flower, like the pumpkins in the case of the ever free souls. God realization is already there. But there is some kind of spiritual practice, these divine souls, these ever perfect souls, these the Nitya souls, they always keep on doing for the sake of strugglers. Strugglers have to learn so much from these ever perfect souls. And that's why they descend and take birth, birth after birth after birth, just to show these people, to show these strugglers, to show these mumukshus the way towards God. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji.